The new Wonder Woman 1984 trailer is really cool, and it's given me a pretty wild theory about what could happen in this movie to explain the plot twists in it and set up a reboot of sorts for the DC Extended Universe, which would allow DC to have all of their future franchises connected in a single universe.
It's like the news, but for nerds.
What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. We've got a lot of crazy stuff to be talking about. I definitely wanted to talk about this crazy Wonder Woman theory, but if you could do me a favor and definitely chop like on this video, that would really help us get back on track after a slow week last week when I was on vacation. Okay, so we just got our first look at an official trailer for Wonder Woman 1984, and it was really cool. And not just the trailer itself, but the hype, the presentation, all of the marketing around this event was really, really cool. They had a live stream from the Comic-Con in Brazil, and it was just really awesome. It was really effective. I think it had like 60 to 70,000 concurrent viewers at one time just on Twitter. That's pretty wild. So kudos to everybody involved in the marketing for this trailer job for Wonder Woman 1984. And for the record, I absolutely love the first Wonder Woman movie. Like, I really, really like that movie, even though the third act does have a lot of different problems. But I also kind of think of that movie as the unfortunate film that has actually kept DC from rebooting their universe. And that's just my opinion here, but given everything that's been going on with DC films, I truly believe that if Wonder Woman had not been as successful as it had been, they just would have rebooted the entire universe by now. But I actually believe that there is a route they could go in this movie that would essentially do a soft reboot of sorts, and there's actually some evidence to support that this is something DC would want to do. Now, more on that in just a second, and trust me, it's gonna be really juicy, but let's talk about the trailer itself for just a second. I thought this trailer was awesome. It's a nostalgia ride. It's super 80s. The music is really, really cool. I love how it's showing that Diana's life is not maybe what you would think it is. And the bottom line here is that Diana is still completely heartbroken over what happened to Steve Trevor. And even though it's been a long, long time since World War I, and now she's in 1984, she still thinks about him a lot, and she's still heartbroken over the whole situation. And without getting too far off track and down a rabbit hole, this is just why I love the Diana character so much, not only in the comic books, but the one that they've established with these films, because Wonder Woman is very strong and a completely capable woman. She is a very strong woman, but she also still represents the softer side of what you would traditionally think as feminine. Like when she sees the baby in the first Wonder Woman movie, she's absolutely drawn to it. It's a motherly female thing, and her love for Steve Trevor is a huge part of her character arc. And not only does that mean that you can have sort of a soft side of femininity with also the very capable and strong side of being a female, I just think that that's way better than the strong female representation of some other big headline comic book or hero characters out there. It's also a superhuman thing that she still misses Steve Trevor. I mean, like, we can all relate to those feelings. It's just, it makes her character way more relatable, even though she's a god. She's struggling with the idea of missing someone that she loves. So it's just a really good character. And the crux of the trailer, and really I think the crux of the movie, is going to be this concept that Maxwell Lord has this thing, this object, which he appears to be like projecting out with his satellite or whatever, but it is literally this thing that is able to grant wishes. And this is how Steve Trevor comes back. Steve Trevor is the one thing that Diana wishes for, and he does come back. Now, it does appear that a lot of other wishes are being granted as well, including perhaps Cheetah. That's right, this MacGuffin, this thing that Maxwell Lord has, I think it might even be used to give Minerva her powers. I think that's how she becomes Cheetah. And it's undoubtedly going to be how Maxwell Lord threatens the world, threatens everything that's going on. And whether it's him or the MacGuffin itself, that's like a bigger threat that becomes revealed, this thing and this magic is the key to the film, and it could be the key to the potential soft reboot that we get. And by the way, this idea of a MacGuffin that Maxwell Lord has being the way that Steve Trevor comes back is actually a rumor that dates back to over a year ago. Over a year ago, it was rumored that Maxwell Lord was going to be the way in which Steve Trevor comes back to life. Now, myself and many other nerds out there get this feeling that this might be bigger than Maxwell Lord. Maybe there's someone impersonating Maxwell Lord, an interdimensional being, or a god, because obviously with Diana destroying Ares in the first movie, there's going to be a ton of gods that are just super not down with that. And so there could be some really powerful, just higher level stuff going on than Maxwell Lord. And if we follow these tropes and what we think will happen in the story, it's going to inevitably lead to a place where Diana has to give up this thing that she wished for. She has to give up Steve Trevor being alive again in order to stop this wishing thing from destroying the planet and possibly the multiverse. And honestly, that totally sucks for Diana. I mean, think about it. Like, she loses Steve Trevor in the first movie. She gets to have him again because of some wish in the second movie, but she's probably going to end up losing him again in the second movie. This woman just can't catch a break. But here is how we could actually have a happy ending that would not only set up a very interesting continuity for the future of the Wonder Woman movies, but it could potentially set up a soft reboot for the DC Extended Universe or the DC Films Universe or whatever they're calling it to essentially allow the movies like the upcoming Batman, the Shazam 2, Black Adam, Aquaman 2, and all of these films to exist in a cinematic universe together. And basically this would have to do with whatever this MacGuffin is or whoever is behind this power basically resetting reality. This would be very akin to what happened with the New 52, opening of Pandora's box, destroying of Flash's mom, all of these different things that have happened before in DC Comics continuity. There are things that do reset the universe, and for instance, with the New 52, certain characters were left alone like Batman and Green Lantern, while other characters were completely rebooted. And there were rumors way back in the day, most notably spread around by Grace Randolph, that suggested that DC and Warner Brothers' plan was to make Wonder Woman 1984 the flashpoint for whatever comes next in the DC universe. And because it's magic and very powerful magic, obviously from what we see in the trailer, this could potentially lead us to a place where after the film, the entire universe within this world is reset and we could get a modern day Steve Trevor. And this actually I think would work great because you go from her being a fish out of water to him being a fish out of water, and then in the third movie or in the future stories, you get a modern day Steve Trevor, which would be great because honestly, Chris Pine is amazing in these films and I think we need him moving forward. But now he doesn't know who Diana is at all because it's a new universe. And so it would be like a 51st dates kind of situation where she knows him completely, but he doesn't know her at all. And he could have a totally different backstory and be just a modern day person. You could also do that for Maxwell Lord, which would be really cool because you'd have a modern day Maxwell Lord. But important to the continuity of the DC films, you could reset Superman. If DC and Warner Brothers is really done with Henry Cavill, we could bring in a new Superman and it would all just make sense depending on this big ending of Wonder Woman 1984. And this is going to allow DC to keep the characters they want, like Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa Aquaman, maybe Henry Cavill Superman if they work that out, but they'd also let other characters fall by the wayside, like the Ezra Miller Flash, gone, Ben Affleck Batman, gone, and Ray Fisher, gone. They would keep what they liked and let the other stuff fall apart and sort of create a continuity between the good things that have come so far in the DC universe and the great things, hopefully, that come in the future of the DC universe. And again, I'm not just pulling this out of the ether. This was a huge report by Grace Randolph years ago, and this movie has been delayed a lot. And so it's very possible that the delays in production and this rumor coincide. Maybe the reason they took so long to do this was because they were handling the way this ending would fit into the future of what they were doing. We know there's been a lot of turnover behind the scenes when it comes to DC films. Different people have been in charge, but it's very possible that this film and the ending could be the catalyst to the future of the DC universe. I talk often about how the end of Endgame sets up Phase 4 and beyond for Marvel to be absolutely crazy. It lets you do whatever you want. Alternate universe, destroying timelines, things happening at the same time, redoing other things that you want to retcon. There's just so much room for craziness. And Wonder Woman 1984 presents an opportunity for them to do the same over at Warner Brothers. And so that's the theory and the evidence from the trailer that could support a new soft reboot for the DC films and perhaps a pretty crazy future moving forward. I'm pretty excited, but I want to know what you think about this crazy theory and the trailer itself for Wonder Woman 1984. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And now let's shout out Big Bob 0042 Indeed, Toro Calican was the young bounty hunter from The Mandalorian Episode 5. So shout out to you, Big Bob. And now let's ask another nerd card question. I want to know, what was the first appearance of Maxwell Lord in the comic books? It was a #1 of a certain comic. I'll give you the hint. So what comic book was the first appearance of Maxwell Lord? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.